Good evening, all. Network Ghost here. Welcome to the network. First, I'd like to give a big shout out to all my fellow YouTube storytellers out there on the network. Also, make sure you not only check out my channel, but make double sure you check out my fellow storytellers on their channels. They all have excellent content, and it would be well worth your time and effort to go check them out. So I would also like to thank the contributing authors for the stories that I'm about to read for you. Now, all that being said, make sure if you enjoy these stories, you hit that like button, subscribe to the network, and share it with all your friends so I can keep bringing you quality content. Also, check out the links down below in the description if you'd like to follow along with the stories that we're reading today. And anyway, again, with all of that being said, let's begin. Shadow Man, submitted by Who Cares? What would you do if a shadowy figure followed you everywhere? I see him everywhere. I don't know what he is, or who he is, or what he wants. He is a shadowy figure with dark, blood-red eyes. Some call him a demon. Others call him a spirit. Some call him a fallen angel. Others call him the devil himself. I call him the Shadow Man. He is my shadow. He follows me everywhere. No one else can see him but me. He sits in the middle of the room as I watch TV with my family. He casually strolls into my bedroom as I talk with my sister. He looks over my sister's shoulder to see what she's reading. He hides under my bed at night. Some nights, I wake up to find his head a few inches from my face. Other nights, I wake up to see him resting on my bedroom ceiling. I can see his fiery eyes boring into me. They burn through my skull and suck away my energy. I feel tired, sore, weak. I think he might be feeding off of me. He follows me to school and walks alongside me and my friends. He bursts into my classroom, and he sits in my teacher's desk. He runs and jumps and sticks his face against my window, usually giving me a fright. Even when I'm in the bathroom, I can see him, sitting in the toilet and patiently watching me. I tell him to go. I shout at him. I try to hurt him. He doesn't move. He doesn't say or do anything. Some might say he's evil. Others might say he is watching over me and protecting me. But I think he is neutral. I think he has the capability to do evil. He can hurt me if he wants to, but he chooses not to. I don't know why he chooses to follow me everywhere. Once, I told my sister he was there, watching her. She looked at me like I was crazy. I think you might have schizophrenia, she said. When she said this, the Shadow Man moved closer to her face. He stroked her cheek softly. with his shadowy finger. I gulped. "He's touching your face," I told her. "I think you're trying to scare me," she snapped. "I don't believe you. Just stop it, or else I'll tell Mom." At this moment, the Shadow Man revealed his long, sharp, purple tongue, which curled like the end of the devil's tail. He licked my sister's pale neck. He was trying to wind me up. Suddenly, my sister got up and shut the bedroom windows. "It's too cold in here," she explained with a shiver. "It's because of him," I told her calmly. "He's the reason why it's cold. He sucks up the heat and light energy in this room." The Shadow Man moved to where my sister was. He looked like a towering figure compared to her small, tiny frame. He caged my sister against the wall with his arms. My sister must have felt his cold presence again. The coldness must have slapped her across the face because she suddenly looked scared. "Stop it!" she screamed at me suddenly. The Shadow Man brushed her hair to the side of her face. He actually moved her hair. I watched my sister's reaction carefully. She looked like she was about to pass out. "How are you doing this?" she demanded to me, scared. "Seriously, you better stop this right now. 'Cause it ain't funny." I wasn't doing anything. She must have known this. Then, just as things couldn't get any worse, my sister sucked in her breath sharply. The Shadow Man was kissing her now. My sister looked like she couldn't breathe. Her face was turning pink. Then it burnt a bright, bloody red. Then her face became purple. I watched in fright, feeling hopeless. I watched as my sister tried to break free from this invisible presence that was choking her. I watched as she failed to fight the Shadow Man off. He continued to kiss her harder, rougher, and more frantic. My sister's eyes rolled to the back of her head. Then she fell to the floor. Her face was ghastly and gray. She wasn't breathing anymore. A tear slowly slipped down my cheek. The Shadow Man wasn't going to leave me alone, and there was nothing I could do about it. Rest in peace, my beautiful sister. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Phantasmia, submitted by Human Gravy. Found in the subreddit, Short Scary Stories. My stomach recoils thinking about the nausea-inducing squelch her head made when it hit the pavement. All I can remember is my father yelling at me to call an ambulance, and my mother's golden blonde hair dyed red from the pool of blood forming beneath her. The doctor said it was a miracle that Mom suffered only a minor concussion. They said not to worry unless she started to vomit or slur her speech. We should have known better. No one bounces their head off concrete like that without suffering any long-term problems. Mom started to act different. She complained of foul odors that had no source. She seemed distracted all the time and unable to maintain her focus. Her attention always seemed to be elsewhere. We blamed it on a bad case of tinnitus and figured that with time, it would go away. It did not. Mom only grew worse. She continuously sprayed air fresheners and perfume all over the house. Every room had potpourri in it. 3 different home inspectors checked the house, and each one declared it structurally sound and found nothing that could possibly cause an offensive odor. Mom could not accept it. For the next 3 days, she crawled through the house and yard, sniffing the floors, the furniture, and the grass for the source. When we tried to talk some sense into her, she simply stated that she was confident that there was a rotting odor emanating from somewhere nearby, and she was determined to find it. Dad and I begged her to get examined by a neurologist. The trauma from the fall had to have impacted the part of her brain which detected smells. Mom refused, angrily scolding us for doubting the authenticity of her claims. Dad didn't have the heart to have her committed or hauled off for examination. Plus, she wasn't hurting anyone. The severity of the situation hit me when I came home from school and found my mother standing in the backyard. She stared at the dark, ominous clouds forming overhead. Thunder rumbled in the distance. I called for her to come inside before the storm began. She didn't acknowledge me. When I tapped her on the shoulder, she turned to me with red, puffy eyes full of tears. She gave me a sad, pathetic smile and hugged me. It was warm and welcoming, but she was trembling. She sobbed loudly, shaking against me. "The smell, I figured it out," Mom cried out. "It's the earth. It's the sky. Everything, everyone is rotting." Mom trailed off as lightning crashed. It illuminated the sky like a light snow. An explosion of thunder made the earth quiver. The air suddenly stank of dank mildew, rotting milk, and hot garbage. Bile rose in my throat. I turned away and vomited onto the grass as thick, pale white maggots started falling from the sky onto the earth. In this next story, there is some adult language that might be a little sexual in nature, so listener discretion is advised. So it should be read by or listened to by persons over 18. The Guy in the Red Truck. Submitted by Jill C72. Found in the subreddit Free Horror Stories. I had something really scary happen to me when I was around 18 years old in the early 1990s. I was really into cars back then, and I liked working on my own cars, even though I'm a girl. I had a 1979 Z28 Camaro with T-tops, and in the summer, I would go cruising around with my friends, looking for something to do. One evening while driving up and down the main street in a neighboring city, I noticed a small red truck following us at a distance. I was with my friend Jenny, and I mentioned to her that I thought this truck could be following us. I pulled into the driveway of a fast food restaurant and noticed that the truck pulled in to the restaurant 3 driveways back. I drove out in the other direction and he did the same. Again, I pulled into another driveway, and the truck pulled in 3 driveways behind. I did this several times, and the truck kept following, always staying about 3 driveways back. Jenny and I decided that we should just head towards home, which was about 30 minutes away. We thought that the driver of the truck would just give up and let us go, but he did not. He just kept following. It was now getting very late, and we were beginning to worry as the truck had now been following us for about an hour. We didn't want to go home and have him follow us there. I decided that the best thing to do would be to drive to the nearest police station. I told Jenny what I planned on doing, and to my horror, she grabbed the steering wheel and pulled it, causing the car to veer sharply right. "What the hell are you doing?" I screamed at her. "You're going to make us crash." It was bad enough that I had to worry about the truck following us, but I now had to worry about my passenger freaking out and causing us to have an accident. "No, we can't go to the police," she insisted. It occurred to me right then that somehow she thought that this was our fault. That somehow, just by cruising around, she thought that we had done something to provoke this. I reluctantly drove away from the police station. We approached a bridge and were stopped by the red light on a one-way street. The truck was directly behind a car that was next to us. The car turned right, allowing the truck to pull forward. I looked over, and to my horror, this guy had stepped out of the truck and was standing next to the passenger side of my car, with no pants on, and he was masturbating. This guy didn't have his pants down around his ankles, as a matter of fact. He had none on at all. I had the disturbing feeling that he probably didn't even have any with him this whole time that he had been following us. I hit the gas pedal and ran the red light going over the bridge. Somehow my friend didn't see what that guy had been doing just outside of her window. When I told her, she just kept saying, "No way." "How the hell did you not see that?" I asked her in disbelief. It occurred to us that this guy would likely rape us if he had the chance. I drove up and down a few one-way streets and back over the bridge and out into the country. He followed us for what seemed like forever, until we were able to finally lose him, going really fast out in the middle of nowhere. We went home and tried to forget about it. For some reason, I never told my parents, and I'm not sure why. A few weeks later, I saw on the news that the police were looking for a guy in a small red truck. He was wanted for rape. They showed us his picture, and it resembled the guy that had followed us. I thought their description of the truck was a little different than the one we had seen, but maybe not. I always wondered if it was him. I'm just glad that we never had to find out. Again, I would like to thank all the writers for contributing to the content on my channel. So, if you enjoyed this video, please crush that like button. You know where it's at. And subscribe to my channel so I can continue bringing you the best content from the world of short, scary horror stories and encounters. And finally, be sure to share these videos with everyone you know. And remember, while traveling the network, good luck, Godspeed, and safe journeys. Until next video, this is Network Ghost. Good night. Network Ghost here. I've gotten a lot of questions from people I know asking me, Ghost, what exactly is a phantosmia? Referring to the second story in this video, of course. I don't think we can really call it an it or a thing. We'll just go with the definition provided by Wikipedia. How's that? Here we go. Phantosmia is an olfactory hallucination. Also, phantosmia is the perception of a smell in the complete absence of any physical odor. A lot of people suffering from schizophrenia, mood disorders, Parkinson's disease, epilepsy, neuroblastoma, and people who also suffer from numerous migraines. So, now you know. It's always good to learn something new every day. And now you have. So again, until next time, this is Network Ghost, signing off the air. Good night.